This particular segment is one that anybody knows me here, I am so very excited to discuss with you all video over these next, 90 minutes. You're going to see an amazing case study. It's going to be a great time. But I want to start with this mindset because we do have a mindset. And it's the mindset that we are all media companies. It's a mindset. Once again, goes back to the philosophies, right? So that's what we're going to be looking at as we go forward. Now, I've got a stat for you. I love stats. I know you love stats too. And I know most of you know this stat. This was Cisco, by the way. But it still merits repeating because it's one of these great, slap you in the forehead moment stats that makes us say, oh my goodness. They say, these are all the experts that study this stuff. They say by the year 2019, what percentage of the content we consume online is going to be video? Anybody? Oh, you're so educated, this crowd. It's the most educated. Debbie, how are you doing? I haven't gotten to see you. Debbie and Andrew, stand up just for a second. Let me embarrass you. They came from all the way across the pond in the UK. Give them a huge round of applause for being here. Love them. Love them. And if you want to see a company that's killing it, the company's called OSV, and they are doing some amazing things there in the UK, and they totally get it, and they have a culture, and it trickles down from the top, and they have made it happen. So thrilled that they made this trip all the way over here to be with us in Hartford. So, question is, if it's 80%, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to me? Hey, somebody said, make videos. That's a good start. That's a good start. So, one of the things that makes me think about is, if you look at your content, your messaging, what percentage of the content that you have out there right now is video-based content? Now, you don't have to answer that, but if you're like most organizations, and I know this is not normal, this is not the norm, right? You are the overachievers of your space. But if you're like most organizations, you're somewhere around 5%. 5%. Most websites, video-based content. Wow. When I see this number, I want to again say, to me, it means that we are all media companies, whether we like it or not. This is like the great acceptance of the digital age. Yep, I'm a media company that happens to sell swimming pools. I'm a media company that happens to speak, but I am a media company. And the moment we start to say this as businesses, we make really different decisions. For example, instead of saying, I think it's time that we hire another salesperson, which is nothing wrong with that, now we say, you know what? We need a full-time videographer. Because we know if we don't have a full-time videographer, and if somebody doesn't own this, well then this isn't going to happen. We'll never achieve that concept of becoming a media company. Let's look at another stat. And this one, again, just makes you say, dang, Gina. So, they say, social video generates what percentage more shares than text and images combined? Anybody got a guess? Go. Okay, somebody said 100%. Anybody else? 75%. Good. Anybody else? Do I hear? Woo. Woo. I love that when everybody goes, woo. Ah. Oh. So what does it mean? Because you always got to swallow the pill, right? Lots of times we see numbers like, oh, wow, that's a big deal. But we don't swallow the pill. When we swallow the pill, great things happen. So what does this pill mean? This pill basically means this. In 2018 and beyond, unless we're doing video, unless it's a major part of our culture, we aren't doing social. At least not in a way that's going to generate true returns. Yes, somebody could engage with you on social. Yes, you can talk back to them and not necessarily use video. But if you truly want to build your business, your brand, your bottom line, video, showing it is going to be the key. Which is why the mindset, the philosophy, again, going back to that word, the philosophy of the organization that we constantly use as a litmus test is, if we don't show it as a company, it, whatever it is, doesn't exist. Think about all the claims you make as your company. You all make claims, right? We're the biggest this, we're the most this, we've been doing this the longest, it's our people, da 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 da. Of those claims that you make, 2 questions for you. Number 1, how many of your competitors make a similar claim? Almost all of them probably. And number 2, of those claims, how many do you show and not just tell? Once again, this is the great divide. I would urge you to go back, consider all those statements that you make, and ask yourselves, in frankness and honesty, how many of these have we truly shown, proven to the doubting Thomases of the marketplace? It will make all the difference. Now, we did something really interesting. It was a few years ago when I was just still with my little band of brothers and sisters, the Sales Lion, and we said, you know what? We see this trend with video, and we realize that companies, unless they start to do this in-house, they're never going to reach their potential. So we posed the question, is it possible to take an organization that really has never done video and teach them how to do it in-house? Because what do we do oftentimes? We outsource it to a company. They charge us $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year. We get 5 videos out of it, and we don't have any budget until next year. Can't do that in 2018, y'all. We're past that point. So we've got to become self-reliant, self-sufficient. And so in this process, and literally, like everybody said, you can't do this, we started to figure out exactly what it takes to establish that special culture of video within the organization. And Zach Basner, who's going to speak to you next, he headed this process up. And then we brought it to impact. And since this time, we have hired literally dozens of videographers for multiple companies around the world, and it's been a special experience, and we've learned a lot. And I'm going to share with you a couple quick points that if you want to have this culture, you need to do these 5 things. Do you want to know what they are? Yes, okay, I want to share them with you. Number 1, unless someone owns it, it's going to fail. And specifically, there's got to be 2 people that we have found. Somebody on your leadership team must be solely responsible for approving the visual messaging that you do and managing over, in other words, being that watchdog, whatever that thing is, that approval, that voice. Not a multiplicity of gates, 1. But in conjunction with that, somebody, again, must own the production side, which of course is your videographer. Some of you say, I can't afford that. I'm not going to tell you right now what you can and cannot afford. But if you cannot afford it, well then you yourself you've got to treat it like you now own it. That it is your pure responsibility to show it and not just tell it. Number 2, they realize that secret sauce is a myth 99% of the time. Do you know how many times somebody has told me, yeah, Marcus, that's kind of secret. That's our special sauce. And I'm like, no, it's Thousand Island dressing. But yet, this is what we do as businesses. One time, my business partner, Jason from River Pools, he'll remember this. Before we started manufacturing pools, we were just selling, we were like a Chevrolet dealer, but we were selling a fiberglass pool called Leisure Pools. And we went to a dealer conference. And we walked up into that dealer conference, and they had it at their factory. And we just whipped out the cameras, and we started literally recording the manufacturing process. And the owners came running to us like, stop, you can't show this. I'm like, it's fiberglass. You spray a gun and stuff flies around and people wear masks. He's like, no, we've got this special equipment. I'm like, dude, you ain't got no, that's all over the place. Every manufacturer's got that. You don't have special sauce. And so they seeded, and here's what happened. Long story made short, quickly that became their most viewed video of all time. And the brand exploded. All because somebody said, why are we doing that? The fact is, in 2018, we want to see the sub made in front of us. That's where we are. Don't go behind closed doors. I want to see what it looks like. Share your secret sauce. Let go of all that other stuff. Some of you might have that Coca-Cola syrup, but that is the 1% of this room. The 1%. The entire team must get it. So in other words, just like we talked about this morning with this philosophy, this mindset of inbound, if I went to especially your sales team or your subject matter experts, and I said, why are we doing video? Or does it matter that we do video? What would they say? What would they think? This tells you so much about an organization. At the end of this, I'm going to show you exactly the mindset that hopefully they're all going to have, but they must get it across the board. This is trickle-down economics from the top. And number 4, they know that this statement, but I'm not good on camera, is a total lie. And some of you, all of us maybe at one point, are guilty of saying this, but I'm not good on camera. Here's funny. When I meet with teams, and I didn't realize that one of the big needs of the marketplace was on-camera performance training. Like it's a really, really major need in the marketplace. And what happens is companies just throw their subject matter experts on camera and expect them to be able to work the magic, and it doesn't happen. And so they fail, and they get really, really frustrated, and they say, video's not our thing, or I'm just not good on camera. Happens all the time. And we've seen some magic. Just by spending literally a short period of time with an individual, you can put them in a position to feel completely different. What's also fascinating is if you go to most salespeople or subject matter experts and you say, are you good with people? What do they say? Yes. But then you say, are you good on camera? And they say, no. And it's because they're not seeing the camera as they should. The camera is the customer. And the moment we can instill in them that the camera is the customer, everything starts to change. I was once training this group of real estate agents, really, really cool, and we went to one of their massive properties that they were trying to create videos for. And this lady, we were at this lake of this property, and we were shooting one of the first videos. And we get started, and one of our big rules that we teach everybody is that when you start a video, you're not allowed to stop. And this is the biggest reason why we fall flat with video. It's because we think we can stop. But if we know we can't stop, magically we just work through the moment. Just like everybody on stage today has to work through the moment. They've got to yes and it. They've got to go forward with it. And so when you teach a team that, all of a sudden everything changes. And so basically we give her that principle, and she starts talking on the camera, right? And we're actually doing an interview, and immediately she stops and she's like, oh, I messed that up, Marcus. And I'm like, no. You did not mess that up, and I never want you to stop again. She was like, geez, freaked out a little bit, like Steve was earlier. But, and I kid you not, as we started to go throughout the day and over the next hour and a half, she noticed that she started to pick it up. She stopped stopping. And she told me, I kid you not, about an hour and a half later, after she tells me that I'm just not good on camera, she literally tells me, Marcus, I think I might be a natural. You're the same person. How is this possible? It's possible because it's our job to put our employees in a position to win. Don't slap them on camera. Teach them the thing. Teach them the thing. And they're going to realize, maybe I am a natural. And number 5, don't overcomplicate the strategy. You're going to see some really cool strategies that took place from the speakers that come next. That they ask, you answer, Taya mindset is as applicable today as it's been for the last 7 years. Don't overcomplicate it. Take all the major questions you get, especially in your sales calls, brainstorm them and say, have we addressed them? And have we produced a video on them? And have we integrated said videos into our sales process? It is that cut and dry. And talk to that person exactly as you would at the coffee shop, or if you were sitting at the boardroom, or whatever that thing is. Don't overcomplicate the thing. So what is the vision? The vision is simple. And here's where we've got to go. This is not about video. Not about video. When you go to your team, it's not about video. Here's what it's about. Our vision as an inbound mindset, an inbound organization is we feel like our customers, our prospects, they must feel like they have seen us before we've ever seen them. If the moment they see you is when you shake that hand, we have failed. We failed. They must feel like they have heard us before we have ever heard them. In other words, they must say to you, I recognize the voice. And they should feel like they know us before we've ever known them. And if we achieve these three simple things, and they do not have to be complicated, we will achieve, once again, that tie that binds all of us in this room together, which of course is trust. This is our challenge. We're going to have an amazing time in the next 90 minutes, and let's all get into it and ask ourselves, is it possible to show the thing? You are awesome. Thank you very much.